Milwaukee Torrent. Let's meet the starting 11 for the Dutch 11. Sarah Haig, Piper Reserk, Zoe Paxton, Kayla Shebar, Peyton Williams, Mia Sedgwick, Caitlin Nardoli, Audrey Stevens, Catherine Stevens, Lauren Bornoff, Molly Fank, Faith Davies, Henry Chung. Let's meet the Milwaukee Torrent starting 11. Mickey Ster, Jordan Raleigh, Senya Moyer, Lainey Higgins, Shannon McWilliams, Bonnie Lacey, Mia Hurdle, Alexa Maltese, Elsie Twombly, Haley Johnson, and Kelly Swenson. Head coach, Andy Davi. Training services provided by Paige Borst. And now, at this time, we ask those who are able to, please rise for the playing of the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome out to Hart Park here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, as FC Milwaukee Torrent hosts their final WPSL home match of the season as they take on the Chicago Dutch Lions. Dutch Lions playing in 2 leagues this summer. Besides the WPSL, they're also playing in USLW. Because of that, they have had quite the schedule crunch, playing they will have played all 8 of their WPSL games over a matter of only 29 days. And of course, scattered in all of that are some games in the other league that they play in. very short today as they only have 1 or 2 subs on the bench. Whereas FC Milwaukee Torrent at full strength. That was Dylan, that guy from Cudahy Dooley, introducing starting 11s for both teams. We do have a few players on the Dutch Lions that we do not have their number assignments for, so we will do our best in trying to figure out who they are. However, for the Torrent, we got all the numbers. We've got all the names. Big game today for the Torrent. They are looking to wrap up this league. Now, they are obviously kicking off here very soon. The team just ahead of them in the standings, Bavarian United, they are a point ahead of the Torrent, but the Torrent do have a game in hand, so FC Milwaukee Torrent do control their own destiny today. Should they win this game, they will be ahead on Bavarian United by 2 points with the same number of games. Now follow me here, folks. The Bavarians, though, played their final game of the season today. That kickoff will be at 4 o'clock, so an hour from now. Unfortunately, it does depend on how the WPSL website updates. We will see if by the end of the game we have any type of update on that Bavarian first half score, at least. My man Kevin O'Connor does such a great job in producing these streams. He promises me that he will do his best to find score updates. He is a wizard at that, and we thank him so much. Regardless of what happens in that 4 o'clock game, the Torrent, if they win today, or even a draw, to be honest with you, will continue to control their own destiny. However, should the Torrent win and Bavarians lose or draw today, that would wrap up the Great Lakes Division title for Milwaukee. At the risk of the commentator's curse, however, we're just going to pay attention to how this game goes along as we have the first half kick. Dutch Lions in orange today, FC Milwaukee Torrent in their favored blues. FC Milwaukee Torrent stacked with a number of Division I players from the area as well as some out of state. We'll get more into that later. First opportunity for Milwaukee. That played to Elsie Twombly in an offside position, however. Twombly, the leading goal scorer on the season for Milwaukee, 5 goals thus far. And Jordan Rowley returning to the lineup. She got her, I believe it was her first start of the season last game. That was an away game for Milwaukee. And Rowley, as she does, got on the board. So although she was the leading goal scorer last year, has not played that much this year because of a hip injury. And right away, Torrent on the attack. Although that is dealt with well by the Dutch Lions goalkeeper. Kelly Swenson with the header, as she does for every year she's played with the Torrent, wearing the captain's armband today. Jordan Rowley, we talked about just before, trying to win this ball for Milwaukee, doesn't do so. But we continue on as Johnson wins that ball. Ball played into the box. Twombly is still there. Keeps it in bounds. Yes, indeed. Opportunity for Mia Hurdle. She plays this back. Milwaukee still making their way into the box. Haley Johnson with the shot. Bobbled at first, but Sarah Haig, the goalkeeper for the Dutch Lions, able to grab that with a second effort. Lainey Higgins, number 10, was the run making the run into the box. Last year, the WPSL did not have any playoffs. This ball played in the back. Nice touch by Kelly Swenson, but only as far as Piper Bizoric. Bizoric on top of the box. Plays this in. No trouble at all for Easter. So no playoffs last year for WPSL, as they were still figuring out and mitigating strategies with COVID-19. But this year there will be playoffs, and as it has been in the past, only the division winners will go on to play in the 2022 playoffs. Dutch Lions looking lively here. This ball played on the right side. Now shot. Goal kick for Milwaukee. That was Peyton Williams for the Dutch Lions taking that shot. So this has come down to a division title battle between the two Milwaukee teams. Team you're watching today, FC Milwaukee Torrent, and the aforementioned Bavarian United. Whoever wins this division, this Great Lakes, or I should say Lake Michigan division, they will go on to play the Kansas City Current 2. That is the reserve team of the NWSL Kansas City Current. Great story there with the return of NWSL to Kansas City, and then beautiful stadium that team will be building specifically for that NWSL team. Ball in the box. Early goal by Chicago Dutch Lions. Piper Bizoric with a surprise goal in the 4th minute of play. Some confusion there from the Torrent defense. Bonnie Lacey had tried to play that out of the box with her heel, but played it directly to Bizoric. But even then, the run through that defense off of the end line. Perhaps Torrent coming out. We've seen this once before the season. They had a big win against Bavarian the day before and then played the Muskrats. Muskrats went up early. Torrent did eventually win that game. But we've seen some overconfidence from this Torrent team that you wouldn't expect with the experience of all the Marquette UWM players out there. And as I said, a sprinkling of other Division I schools. Torrent come right back the other way. They don't get a goal, but they are showing that they do mean business. Nice win there from Johnson, taking that off of the foot of Paxton. Dutch Lions having played 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, no draws. Milwaukee just trying to find some openings. Perhaps might do them well, however, just to have some good spells of possession, settle things down. Instead of trying to rush everything. Talking about Kansas City Current too, though. That team is on a tear in the WPSL. Number of scorelines that are just simply outrageous. Torrent now on the attack. Foul called just outside of the box. That was Senya Moyer taken down. Good strong run into the box. Your center referee today, by the way, is Edgar Ortega. Ortega was an AR last night in the men's game. Haley Johnson tries to play that one quickly, but sends it into the foot of the Dutch Lions defender, and that is offside. In what looked like it was going to be a foot race for Kelly Swenson. So Edgar Ortega is your center referee. The assistant referee closest to us is Eric Brock. And the assistant on the far side is Eric Orlowski. And your 4th official tonight is Jose Garcia. All very experienced referees. Have had a number of games at Hart Park for both the men and the women's teams. Jordan Riley on the ball on the far side. Sends this into the box. Dealt with by, I believe, Molly Frank. Dutch Lions may be here with only 4 subs today, one of them a goalkeeper. But so far they have come out with a lot more energy than this Torrent team. Decent weather in this game today. 77, and that temperature should pretty much hold for the rest of the affair. If you're just tuning in, my name is Simon Provan. On behalf of everybody here at FC Milwaukee Torrent, thanks for joining in on this live stream. We've got FC Milwaukee Torrent with an opportunity here, taking on the Chicago Dutch Lions. Jordan Raleigh not able to get on to the end of that, and that will be a goal kick for Chicago. Dutch Lions in that Dutch orange, FC Milwaukee Torrent in that darker blue. Had talked about how Elsie Twombly is the leading goal scorer on this team with 5 goals. A number of other players have a single goal on the year. And when looking at assists, leading in assist for the Torrent is Haley Johnson with 2, and then Moyer, Wojcik, Miletus each have 1 assist on the year. Torrent have had a very strong year, starting out the year with a 3-0 victory over crosstown rival Bavarian United, and then continued their winning ways, 2-1 over the Muskrats, and then 2-0 away at the Muskrats. Came back home, took care of business against Chicago Kicks, 2-0. But then in the return leg to Bavarian United, Torrent did lose that game, their only loss of the year, 1-0. But in their return leg to Chicago Kicks, which was on June 19th, they had won that game 2-0. And that brings us to today. Dutch Lions with an impressive victory over the Muskrats in their last game. They won 3-2, but scored all 3 goals in the 80th minute or later, meaning they were down 2-0 up until the last 10 minutes of the game. Reminders of that great Champions League final between Manchester United and Bayern Munich. I believe it was Munich that was up 2-0, and then Manchester United, the year that they won the treble, if I'm not mistaken, ended up winning that game in the last 10 minutes, 3-2. Higgins on the ball, takes a shot, just wide of the goal, but has been deemed to be a deflection off the goalkeeper. This will be a corner kick for Milwaukee. Miletus will be taking the corner kick. Can she add to her assist total on the year on this corner? Again, 4th minute goal against the run of play by Piper Bezoric has the Dutch Lions in the lead 1-0 here at Hart Park. Ball played in. Over the end line again, another corner, this time from the other side of play. Mia Hurdle running out to take care of business for the Torrent on the near side corner. Speaking of officials, with that game last night, Eric Brock, the AR closest to Mia Hurdle right now, was our 4th official at our men's game. Played low on the ground, sent out of the box by Chicago. Hurdle looked as if she was going to win that back, then just allowed it to go out for a throw-in, which she takes quickly. Nice move by Johnson, a bit of a sombrero. But that ends up going over the end line for a Dutch Lions goal kick. Well, as I had mentioned, this is the last WPSL home match for FC Milwaukee Torrent. But they do have other games on the schedule. They have a friendly scheduled for July 16th. That'll be a Saturday afternoon match, kicking off at noon. First time that the Torrent will be hosting an international friendly, if you will, as they'll be taking on University of Manitoba out of Canada. Torrent finish up their season in a home-away match series with the Chicago Dutch Lions, so obviously playing here today at Hart Park, but then they will travel down this Friday to Chicago to take on the Dutch Lions at Wheaton College. That game, again, July 1st. And we'll see what the results look like for Bavarians tonight. That game may mean everything for the Torrent. Opportunity here for the Dutch Lions. Wide open, shot on goal. That's Catherine Stevens. Chicago Dutch Lions up 2-0 here in the 15th minute of play. So again, another goal against the run of play. Torrent having the majority of the possession. Couple of corner kicks, opportunities on goal. Chicago comes running down, and Catherine Stevens gets past one Torrent player, has a wide open opportunity on goal, and does what any good goal scorer does, puts it far post, giving Mickey Easter no chance whatsoever. Haley Johnson taken down. This about 30 yards out from the Dutch Lions goal. Shot on goal. Well saved by Sarah Hogg to put that one just over the crossbar. Hogg, the number one reason why the Dutch Lions have not given up a goal against the Torrent. Very strong play from her today. So two big defensive mistakes by the Torrent, and the Dutch Lions make the Torrent pay on both of them. Mia Hurdle sends this in, well placed. Torrent just looking for an opportunity. McWilliams sees the goalkeeper off her line, but sends that wide of the goal. Dutch Lions with the short goal kick. Possession in favor of the Torrent, but only momentarily. McWilliams looking for Hurdle. Sends it a bit too far. That goes out of bounds for a Dutch Lions throw-in. If this is the first WPSL match that you have had the pleasure of watching, don't be surprised that substitutions are unlimited. And with being down 2-0 so quickly in this first half, I won't be surprised to see Andy Davi make a number of substitutions. Meanwhile, foul called against the Torrent. Dutch Lions with a free kick near midfield. Number of Dutch Lion players didn't show up till about 15 minutes before kickoff. And I'm sure that gave a bit of a air for the Torrent of perhaps them Perhaps Chicago looking to be unprepared for this match today, but that certainly has not been the case. As I had mentioned, from our standpoint, not having been given, even at this point, all the numbers for the players on the Dutch Lions. But in the end, that has not affected Chicago at all. And we'll see what happens over the course of the next 71 and a half minutes of play. Ball on the far side of the field. Faith Davies sneaking in the far side. Bonnie Lacey sends that out of bounds for a Dutch Lions corner kick. I'm not sure if the Torrent have a different color for their goalkeeper jersey, but usually you do not see any jerseys conflicting with each other out there, but you do see Mickey Easter in the traditional orange goalkeeping jersey for the Torrent. And, of course, Dutch Lions, they've got some white on top, but could be very confusing for them with those orange jerseys on. Ball sent in. Bit of a floater for Chicago. No foul on that play. Torrent still trying to work this out of the box. They do, but goes out for a throw-in for the Dutch Lions. Now in the 20th minute of play, Chicago up 2-0 in very surprising fashion. Both goals coming against the run of play. Brzorek with a goal in the 4th minute. After Bonnie Lacey tried to heel the ball out of the Torrent box. Instead, it went directly to Brzorek, who found herself with the ball right in front of the goal and put it away. And Catherine Stevens in the 15th minute got around a couple of Torrent players, cut the ball from her left to her right while in the box. Also found herself right in front of the Torrent goal, of course. It's exactly what she worked for, and then took care of business by putting it to the very far left of Mickey Easter, giving Chicago Dutch Lions the surprising 2-0 lead. Hurdle tries to throw this into the box. Kelly Swenson with the header. Ball eventually won in favor of the Torrent. Nutmeg on the field, still alive with the ball. Well, no longer, but that was Melitas making her way towards the Dutch Lions goal. Ball at the feet of Melitas once again. She plays this into the box. This could be good for Raleigh. But Haig grabs it off of the bounce before Raleigh could get a head on it. Bonnie Lacey playing a bit further up than usual at the moment. Higgins plays this to Hurdle. Hurdle trying to win it back, not able to do so. This out to Catherine Stevens, but Bonnie Lacey is there to intercept it. Now Johnson coming all the way back on the other side of the field as Brzorek, your first goal scorer, tried to switch fields, but Shannon McWilliams ends up with the ball for the Torrent. Nardali to, I believe it was Brzorek, but I think I may be mistaken with that. Nevertheless, out of bounds in favor of Chicago. And Torrent making their first substitution on the day as Maddie Solaric will be coming onto the field, giving Mia Hurdle her first rest in today's match. One thing you can never question Mia Hurdle about is her work ethic out on the field. It's not a strange thing to see her making runs back in the back to help defensively, but also many times being the point of attack for the Torrent. Nice step towards the ball to win that for Milwaukee. Twombly trying to win this back as well. Not able to do so as Paxton plays that across the field. Nardoli. Solaric, another Torrent player, beaten one-on-one. Opportunity for Chicago once again. Torrent deals with it well, but nice control by Faith Davies, who plays this also to the far side of the field. Ball sent into the box. Kelly Swenson there originally with a header, but now ball still alive. McWilliams gets us out to Solaric. That was much better by the Torrent defense, recognizing who was open. We are going to have a couple more substitutions here for Milwaukee coming on to the field. Kenzie Balseric, as well as Liz Beckers. Coming off are Jordan Raleigh and I believe Lainey Higgins. That indeed is Higgins getting a rest as well. And substitution for Dutch Lions, MJ Lisala coming onto the field for Chicago. Or Lasella. Taking a break is number 17, Peyton Williams. Haley Johnson on the run for Milwaukee. Looks to send this one in. Not strong enough with that pass. Sarah Hag read it well and sends it forward immediately for Dutch Lions. Torrent have to be careful. They've got players forward, the Dutch Lions do. Although I believe had that one connected, that would have been offside. Easter rolling it out to Solaric. Moyer back to McWilliams. This is better from Milwaukee. Offside called against the Torrent. Ball continues to be played around in midfield as the teams fight. Wasn't sure that that was offside, but on a second look, with our stream being behind just a little bit, that I get to take advantage of that. That certainly was a good call by AR Eric Brock. So the Torrent will have to watch that line. Chicago playing a very high line today, trying to shorten this field for Milwaukee, not giving them as much space to work this ball around. So far, it has been a very effective game plan. We'll see if the Torrent can figure that out. Beckers gets around her player, plays this out to Twombly. Twombly making her way towards the box, trying to get it back to Beckers, falls back at Twombly's feet. Twombly near the end line. And ball eventually goes out for a Torrent corner kick. Much better from Milwaukee as Beckers and Twombly with some really good connections. Miletus, player out of Marquette University, taking this corner kick. Nothing happening as that goes immediately out of bounds. Two substitutions for Chicago Dutch Lions coming onto the field. Number 38, Ava Hensley. And we also have a number 34 that I do not have a name attached to that player. If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe that is Meredith Phillips for Chicago. Anyways, that's what we will go with today. Unfortunately, sometimes because of travel schedules, teams having to split players between two leagues, we don't always get the correct information. So we can only do the best with what we have to work with. So if number 34, you are not Meredith Phillips, at least for these next 15 minutes of play, that's what we're going to call you. Maybe at halftime we can get some clarification. Not much movement from the Torrent when Easter has that ball. You can see Easter pointing every which way, hoping that these Torrent players would move around and give her an opportunity to get that to someone. Torrent trying to move forward, give the Dutch Lions credit for reading a lot of these passes. Foul called against Chicago. Credit to Ortega for waiting to see if an advantage may be in play for Milwaukee after he saw that that ball was going nowhere. Came back to call the foul. That has been a point of emphasis from U.S. Soccer this year. And I know a lot of fans, it's something that they're not used to, that feels like there's a lot of late whistles, but when in fact referees are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Bonnie Lacey with the shot right at Sarah Haag, who deals well with that ball. I can admit that I've spent some time this year as a licensed referee myself, and there will be times when you're waiting to see what happens. We have been advised to wait 2 to 3 seconds, and a lot of parents not being used to that will start shouting at the ref to make the call. Parents, you just got to be patient these days to see what happens. So many times you see referees take an advantage away from a team. And in those cases, you can't win as a referee. You're yelled out for not calling the foul and instead giving a team advantage. And then when you don't give a team advantage, you get yelled at for not giving them advantage. So it can be a very difficult job. Liz Becker's playing up top, trying to win that ball back for Milwaukee. Instead, the ball gets passed off. Chicago Dutch Lions doing a really good job moving this ball around, but nice step by Bonnie Lacey, who wins the ball back yet a second time off the feet of Hensley. Bonnie Lacey, almost all alone on this near side, sends it into the box. Not many Torrent players there. And now Dutch Lions looking for a counterattack. Collision in the middle, everybody's okay, we play on. Torrent win this ball back once again. Haley Johnson all the way in the back, covering for Kelly Swenson, who is moving up. Now Johnson moving back to her preferred position. Twombly on the ball for Milwaukee. Able to win that, trying to cut it inside, misplayed it a bit, but fortunate enough to have that go off of the foot of Molly Frank, and Frank just sends it over the end line for yet another Torrent corner kick. I believe this is corner kick number 4 for Milwaukee. We're 34 minutes into this game, and being down 2-0, you'd certainly like to see Milwaukee take advantage of at least one of these corners. Certainly don't want to give up a third goal, but very much want to see Milwaukee get a goal before half. Katie Swenson, sister of Kelly Swenson, lining up to come onto this field. Ball headed in, still in the box. Shot for Milwaukee. That will be a goal kick, and I believe, yes, indeed, we will see Katie Swenson coming onto the field. Coming on for Bonnie Lacey. Lacey, one of the stars at Marquette University. And Katie Swenson coming on. She plays her college ball at UW-Whitewater, a very strong Division III school. She started all 19 games this year as a freshman on that Warhawks team. Which I don't care which division you are playing in when it comes to college soccer. Starting every single game as a freshman is quite a record to be able to claim. Also very familiar with this area. We are in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, and she went to Tosa East High School. Sister Kelly, by the way, played at UW-Milwaukee. Kelly graduated from UWM a couple years ago. She's been with the Torrent since her graduation. Katie Swenson sends this into the box. Twombly looking for an opportunity, but headed out by the Dutch Lions. McWilliams plays it out to Swenson. Swenson trying to win this ball back. Not able to, but Kelly Swenson is there as the center back. Plays it up to McWilliams. Dutch Lions do have a couple of players streaking on the other side of the field, but McWilliams does well to win that and just sends it safely out of bounds. Head coach of the Torrent women's team, Andy Davi, also the owner of the Torrent, calling in on more reinforcements as the Dutch Lions look to make their way down the field again. Offside called against Lasilla. Lasilla started in an offside position, then came back to win that ball. Well done by the far side AR. Very shortly, we will see Caitlin Owens and Ryan Locante coming onto the field for the Torrent. 37th minute now. Ball played in the box. Misjudged by Miletus. One of those instances where she saw the goal, saw where the ball was coming. Maybe eyes got a little bit bigger than what her feet could handle. Well, taking a break is Shannon McWilliams. And along with McWilliams, Miletus, who just had that opportunity at goal, will also be taking a break. Well, the story of the game so far, Torrent leading in possession, leading in the attack opportunities, and yet it's the Dutch Lions leading on the scoreboard 2-0 as we are at Hart Park here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Perhaps the first train coming through your picture will bring some luck to the Torrent. One of the features we love here, watching some soccer and having some trains come through in the background. Dutch Lions doing well, playing some organized soccer in the back, not afraid to knock the ball around. Solaric doing the same on the other end as she plays that back to Easter. Easter sending this forward, flick of the head. Liz Becker's not able to get there, but it is a throw-in for Milwaukee. Owens with the throw. Now back to Solaric. Paxton intercepts that, but, well, Milwaukee had the ball again, but only for a couple of touches. Sedgwick sends this ball out for the Lions, giving Milwaukee another throw-in. Torrent have had some opportunities, and give credit to Dutch Lions goalkeeper Sarah Haig for the saves that she has made. However, just about every shot Milwaukee has taken has been directly at Haig. Certainly want to make your opposing goalkeeper have to work for those saves. Swenson plays this back to Easter. Easter once again trying to direct traffic, looking for an opening. Trying to get this to Locante. Haley Johnson gets a touch on it with her head. No handball called on the play. We play on. Johnson once again with the ball. Trying to play this over the back line. Too soft of a touch. Moyer playing this on the outside to Solaric. Solaric bringing this down. Now cuts in. Sends this ball in the box. Twombly with a touch of a head. But Dutch Lions once again fighting for that ball. Instead, Moyer wins another ball for Milwaukee. Also sends this ball in the box. Opportunity, but Haig grabs it off the bounce. Keeping the score 2-0 in favor of the Dutch Lions. 41st minute of play. You are watching FC Milwaukee Torrent Soccer here on 11 Sports. I am Simon Provan, your play-by-play analyst. And Locante sending this to Twombly. Twombly not able to get a touch, but it is sent out of bounds. Almost an own goal by the Dutch Lions. As Zoe Paxton looking to send that over the line for safety, but my, oh my, that came close to going between the pipes. And a fifth or sixth corner kick now for Milwaukee. Katie Swenson on corner kick responsibilities here on the near side. This would be such an opportune time for Milwaukee to get one back right before the halftime whistle, where they could carry that momentum into the second half. Swenson, very strong driving kick. Goes all the way across the field, out of bounds, and a Dutch Lions throw-in. Substitution for the Dutch Lions as Caitlin Nardali will be returning to the field. Originally out there as a right winger, but it looks like she's going to be lining up as a left fullback on her return to the field. Faith Davies will be taking a break for Chicago. Owens looks to send this across to Locante. Back to Swenson. Sends this in the box. Nice strong cross in. Out to Solaric near the end line. Solaric trying to play this across as well, but goes out of bounds, thwarting any further attack for the Torrent. Again, give the Dutch Lions credit for those 2 goals against the run of play, but for my money, I'm seeing a lot of plays by the Torrent that they're beating themselves today, at least in this first half. And I won't be surprised if in the locker room that's what head coach Andy Davi will be talking to his team about. Yeah, we talked about some playoff scenarios. Torrent would do themselves a huge service by winning today's game. They do have a game in hand over Bavarian United, but Bavarians sit a point above the Torrent. And should the Torrent lose and Bavarians win, if I'm doing my math right, that would seal the deal for Bavarian United. Solaric with a nice step, winning that ball. Playing out now for Beckers. Haig coming way out of her goal. Beckers wanting to call on that play. It looked clean to me as Haig came out and, again, seemed to have won that ball cleanly. But a throw-in downfield for Milwaukee near that Dutch Lions goal. 45th minute of play. Moyer trying to turn one player. Tried to play that ball to Beckers, but again, instead goes to the foot of Catherine Stevens. Stevens, the goal scorer in the 15th minute for the Dutch Lions. Second goal of the day for the team. Owens on the far side. And as we finish up the 45th minute of play, it's just been announced that there will be 1 minute of stoppage time. Torrent still pressing, looking for their first goal of the game. Second verse, or is this the fourth verse? Same as the first. Throw-ins from the same spot, all being taken by Owens. Ball played in, now in the box. Chicago does well, but sends it only as far as Elsie Twombly. Locante looking to play this up to Johnson. Looked to go off a Dutch player, it did. Johnson with the throw, plays this to Twombly. Twombly in the box, trying to allow the ball to take a bounce, but goes right to Haig. I believe that will be the Torrent's final opportunity in this first half, as we are officially at the end of the minimum of 1 minute of stoppage. I believe our center ref Ortega will allow this attack to play out, as that's played to Easter. And yet play will continue here for Milwaukee. Solaric taking this ball downfield, looking for Twombly. Instead, Paxton is there to win it for the Dutch Lions. Torrent once again back in possession. Some miscommunication between Solaric pause in the action as don't have any ball kids today. Ortega waiting for that ball to be kicked before blowing the whistle, and that he does. Well, a very surprising scoreline after one half of action. Chicago Dutch Lions with goals in the 4th and 15th minutes, first coming from Piper Bizorek, second from Catherine Stevens. And even though the Torrent had the majority of possession and majority of opportunities, they were not able to convert any of them as the teams head into the locker room. Well, we will take a break as well. Thank you for joining us on this FC Milwaukee Torrent live stream. My name is Simon Provan. We'll see you on the other side of this break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back out to Hart Park for second half action of Milwaukee Torrent hosting Chicago Dutch Lions. First half ended scoreboard-wise in favor of the Dutch Lions. And I say it like that because Torrent certainly dominated every other stat except the scoreboard. So the second half kicks off with the Dutch Lions in the lead 2-0. Torrent certainly have their work cut out for them. Bavarian United, who are a point ahead of Milwaukee, and yet have played one more game than Milwaukee. Their game is kicking off. Their final game of the season is kicking off. Should this result hold here in Milwaukee, and should Bavarian United win, that means Bavarian United will win the title in the Lake Michigan division. We'll have to see what kind of adjustments have been made by head coach Andy Davi in the locker room, and if they will pay off enough that the Torrent can find themselves 3 goals in this second half, while also holding Chicago Dutch Lions to the 2 they've already scored. Mia Hurdle with the touch. McWilliams trying to win this back for Milwaukee. Not able to do so, and the Dutch Lions looking to get down the field, but Bonnie Lacey had other plans. Higgins plays this out to the outside, comes right back to Higgins in the midfield. Too strong of a pass from Higgins, but McWilliams there to send the ball back into midfield, where the Dutch Lions gain control. Kayla Shebar on the outside, plays this in the box. Chicago pressing strongly, but Elsie Twombly turns, finds some real estate in front of her. Twombly still on the ball, now plays it out to Raleigh. Raleigh on the far side. Nice cut back into her left. Raleigh with the shot. And just wide of the near post, goal kick for Chicago. Well, that Bavarian Muskrats game has kicked off. It's in the 7th minute of play. That game being played down in Indiana at Lake Central High School. That score is 0-0. Of course, there will be a second half to play in that game after we go off air. So if you are following along, regardless of what result we see here today at Hart Park, find yourself on the internet at 11 Sports, type in Bavarian United, and the live feed should pop up for you. Dutch Lions playing very strong defensively as Haley Johnson trying to play that ball to the inside, but Faith Davies, who had a strong first half, very strong here. Now another opportunity for the Dutch Lions. Mickey Easter coming out of her goal, able to stop that one. Easter wanting to play that one quickly. Does see Jordan Raleigh up front all by herself, but instead ball goes out of bounds for a Dutch Lions throw-in. This ball played across the field to Hurdle. Nice ball from Hurdle, trying to play this over the back line to Raleigh. Just a bit too far. Dutch Lions did change their goalkeeper at halftime, Sarah Hag, with the first half shutout being replaced by number 40, Lauren Bornhoff. Opportunity for Chicago once again, this just over the crossbar as Mia Sedgwick worked her way to get all alone near the top of the box. And after a sigh of relief, goal kick for the ladies in blue. Raleigh with the quick throw, trying to get this to Elsie Twombly. Instead goes out of bounds again for another Milwaukee throw-in. Miletus. Nice strong win back for the Torrent. Sawyer sends this to the near side. McWilliams looks to play this in the box. Elsie Twombly not able to get ahead on that. Misjudged by Twombly. Looked like she thought she would maybe let it skid across her head, or she thought a teammate was coming in behind her. That wasn't the case either way. And Milwaukee wasting yet another opportunity on the Dutch Lions goal. Chicago just seeming to be more hungry on the day, which you certainly don't want from Milwaukee, as they have an opportunity here to put themselves in the driver's seat in claiming the Lake Michigan crown. Instead, right now, the odds do favor Bavarian United, who remain drawn with the Muskrats 0-0. That game now in the 11th minute. Nice win by Lacey. Lacey looking to play this up to Johnson. Just continued heavy touches from the Torrent. And Dutch Lions reading every single pass out there. Davies with the throw. Twombly not touching that ball as she started in an offside position, but Haley Johnson on the ball for the Torrent. Plays this back to Hurdle. Hurdle at the top of the box, looking for a shot, a bobble, goal! 53rd minute of play, and Milwaukee finds themselves cutting the score in half. I believe that was Miletus with the goal. Waiting for confirmation. Miletus is your goal scorer. Another opportunity. That was a handball in the box. No call by Edgar Ortega. That is very surprising. That was a very obvious handball. That should have been called. That hand was well outside the body, redirected. Even if that was accidental, that arm was extended, and it was not in a natural position. I am dumbfounded how that was not called a PK. Nevertheless, we play on after Melita scored that goal.
FC Milwaukee Torrent.
As you hear Dylan, the man from Cudahy Dooley, announce once again that goal being scored by Miletus. And some substitutions happening here for Milwaukee. Ball sent over for a goal kick. So Miletus with a goal in the 53rd minute of play. And Torrent having renewed energy out there. Jordan Raleigh plays this across to Higgins. Higgins pops this in the box looking for Beckers. Instead, falls into the hands of Bornhoff. Torrent now pressuring a bit higher, a bit heavier. Torrent want nothing less than 3 points today. But of course, it's got to start with first finding that equalizer. Melita sends this into the box. Twombly not able to get a head on it, but Jordan Raleigh wins it back. Jordan Raleigh with the shot. Goal! Jordan Raleigh making it 2-2 here at Hart Park. Big-time equalizer for the Torrent, as that puts them back in the driver's seat, in control of their own destiny.
FC Milwaukee Torrent.
This brings them even on points so far, with Bavarians when it comes to games played. However, officially Bavarians still a point ahead, as they are 0-0 against the Muskrats. Torrent have to continue the way they've been playing in this second half, with goals now in the 53rd minute from Miletus and 57th minute from Raleigh. Both players getting their second goals on the year, and in such important fashion. This ball sent downfield now. Higgins looking to apply pressure. Does enough to slow down the Dutch Lions from being able to go forward. Substitutions happening for both teams. Haley Johnson will be returning to the field for Milwaukee, as Elsie Twombly gets a break. And for Chicago Dutch Lions, Meredith Phillips coming onto the field as Faith Davies takes a break. Higgins again at the top of the box. This is Miletus. Miletus trying to play this across to Hurdle. Hurdle taken down Referee deems it shoulder to shoulder, and I have to say, I think that is the correct call. Yes, it looked very strong, but that was a shoulder to shoulder play, deemed legal. And going back to goal scorers, that was Rowley's second on the year, but Miletus, that is actually her first on the year. And my, oh my, the importance of your first goal being an equalizer when the division title is essentially on the line today. Miletus, the 8th goal scorer on the year for Milwaukee. And while Twombly is still the leading goal scorer for the team, as Haley Johnson looks to send this in, but earns a corner for Milwaukee. Twombly now followed up by Jordan Rowley with 2 goals on the year, and all others with 1. Bonnie Lacey on the outside. Sends this in the box. Opportunity for Becker's ball bouncing around. Saved off the line by the Dutch Lions. Yet another corner kick for Milwaukee. While the winner of the Lake Michigan division will go on to face KC Current 2. This ball played in the box, headed by Rowley, goes out of bounds for a Dutch Lions goal kick. Kansas City Current 2, the reserve team for Kansas City Current of the NWSL, an incredibly strong team. Lake Michigan division, no stranger to strong teams as the Chicago Red Stars. I'll get back to that thought in a minute. Jordan Rowley wins this ball on the outside of the box, sends it in with her left foot. Nobody there for the Torrent to get on the end of that. And ball now at midfield. But Chicago Red Stars reserves had been the dominant team in this division for years. One-on-one possibly now. Easter against Shebar. Shebar shakes Easter, but can't finish the shot on a wide open goal. And this game remains tied 2-2. 2 goals for the Dutch Lions in the first half. 2 goals thus far for the Torrent in the second half. But looking at the score lines for Kansas City Current 2, I'll go down the list quickly here. They are all impressive. 12-0, 7-0, 8-0, 3-0, 7-1, 2-0, 6-0. They are playing a game today. I don't know what the score of that one is, but Kansas City Current 2 have already wrapped up their division, the Heartland division, in the Midwest Conference. So whether it's Milwaukee Torrent or Bavarian United, whichever team wins the Lake Michigan division will go on to face that Kansas City Current 2 team at regionals in the WPSL playoffs. Both teams looking to make substitutions. Yellow card issued just before to number 36, Molly Frank of Chicago Dutch Lions. That in the 63rd minute. Now coming on for FC Milwaukee Torrent, number 2, Liesel Oden, coming in for Lainey Higgins. And on the other side, coming off the field, was number 31, Catherine Stevens, making her way onto the field, number 17, Peyton Williams. A toss to the ground from number 10, Kayla Sheber. Everybody wanting a card. Spencer Ortega reaches into his pocket. Shebar perhaps a bit lucky to not see red on that. The initial shove was one thing, but then tossed McWilliams, or rather Hurdle, to the ground. Both arms extended. And some referees will deem that a red card. So 2 yellow cards in quick succession for the Dutch Lions. This one in the 65th minute issued to Kayla Shebar. Shebar, the one who had beat Easter on that 101, but did not find the back of the net. Instead put it on the outside side netting. Hurdle and Shebar at it once again. Foul called against Hurdle. No complaints from her. A smile on the face. Ortega just looking to keep this game in control. Again, checking in with the Bavarians game down in Indiana. Score remains 0-0, that game in the 24th minute of play. If these results hold, Bavarians would have 17 points out of 8 games. Torrent would have 16 points out of 7 games. Raleigh sends this across the box. Nobody there. Well played ball by Raleigh, if not just a bit too far to the other side of the goal. Well, these teams will see each other again in Chicago this coming Friday at 7 p.m. Dutch Lions still have a couple more games to go after that one in the WPSL, but that'll be the final regular season match for Milwaukee. And Torrent fans, Chicago is not that far away. Perhaps you want to consider driving down to Wheaton College, especially if Milwaukee does not wrap up today's Lake Michigan Division title. Free kick here for Milwaukee, which essentially will feel like a corner kick. Kelly Swenson staying back. McWilliams in the middle of the field, everybody else up. Ball still in the box. Haley Johnson gets a touch. Odin plays this out to Lacey. Lacey sends it back in. Softly headed by Moyer, who obviously was hoping to get a little more strength on that opportunity. Play continues. Dutch Lions with the free kick from midfield. Kelly Swenson heads that ball out of the box. Jordan Raleigh making her run all the way back. Ball rolls out of bounds for a Dutch Lions throw-in. Easter grabs this ball off of the bounce. No threat there for the Torrent. Well played by Zoe Paxton. Yes, it went out of bounds, but while she saw Haley Johnson waiting to play the bounce, Paxton made sure to get in front of Johnson and not give Johnson the opportunity. Well, after a short break, Elsie Twombly will be returning to the field for the Torrent, this time giving the legs of Joe Raleigh a couple of minutes of break time. Start of the year, we saw Twombly and Johnson play up top quite a bit. And we have that now in this formation from head coach Andy Davi. We'll see if it might pay some dividends for the Torrent. But first, the Torrent have to get through, well, what looked like it was going to be an offensive attack from Chicago. But instead, the Torrent quickly grabs the ball. This falling at the feet of Miletus Beckers. My apologies. And now played outside of the box, and a throw-in for Milwaukee as Ryan Locante will return to the pitch for the Torrent. And going off on the far side, I believe, is Miletus. We'll get confirmation of that in a bit. Ball in the box. Opportunity for Twombly. Falls to the feet of LeConte. LeConte with the shot. Goal! Ryan LeConte steps onto the field as a substitute. 10 seconds later, she puts the ball in the back of the net, giving Milwaukee Torrent a critical lead here in the 71st minute of play. Well, Twombly originally with the header. The ball falls to the feet of LeConte. She becomes the hero in the 71st minute of play as the Torrent fight back to grab the lead. And a very important, temporarily at least, 3 points on the day. Still plenty of soccer to be played here at Hart Park. But if you are FC Milwaukee Torrent, you got to feel good about how this second half has been going. All 3 goals coming in the second half. And again, that third one coming from about 19 yards out. Ryan LeConte putting that over the hands of Lauren Bornoff and giving Milwaukee the lead. I don't think Milwaukee is done yet. Another opportunity inside the box. Played across the Twombly. Goal! Elsie Twombly! Now the lead by 2 goals, and Twombly with her 6th goal on the year. Chicago Dutch Lions defensively falling apart as the Dutch Lions make 3 substitutions on the field. Coming on are number 24, Sarah Hagg, who was the goalkeeper in the first half, is now a field player. Also number 31, Catherine Stevens, who had one of the goals in the first half, and number 37, Faith Davies. And now the Torrent about to make a number of substitutions as well. Well, this day started out feeling like dire straits for the Milwaukee Torrent. Instead, in the last 3 minutes, it has been an incredible turnaround, and actually the last half hour has been an incredible turnaround. As I had said, a number of players coming onto the field. I'm not even going to kid myself. I can't keep up with all the substitutions, but you see them all on your screen. But a number of players getting some well-deserved breaks. Bonnie Lacey, the last one to come off the field, as Candace Owens is the last one to come onto the field. I'm sorry, Caitlin Owens. play continues for Milwaukee as I just got a dressing down from my press box mates here about a mistaken name. Candace Owens. I will never mistake you for our great player out on the field ever again, Caitlin Owens. Katie Swenson gets a touch on that ball, plays it out to Beckers. Tyler Wilson, one of the subs that came on, plays this outside. Ball sent into the box. Beckers fighting, trying to win this one back. She does earn a throw-in for FC Milwaukee Torrent. And as the game continues in Indiana, score remains Bavarians 0, Muskrats 0. Just looking quickly at the stats, it certainly seems like the Bavarians have had the majority of chances in that game. But ultimately, what matters is this game in front of us as FC Milwaukee Torrent is now up 4-2. Another opportunity. That one blocked by the Dutch Lions defense. You can see the Dutch Lions have definitely fell into a defensive shell of sorts, not wanting this score to get out of hand, apparently. Wilson with a quick retake. Haley Johnson on the ball. Looked as if maybe she was going to take a shot, but did not see Faith Davies right behind her. The attack continues, though, for Milwaukee. Again, this ball sent out of bounds. Milwaukee up 4-2. Again, looking at goals in the second half, Alexa Miletus got things started for Milwaukee in the 53rd minute, brought some hope and some rejuvenation of spirit for the Torrent. And that was followed up 4 minutes later. Opportunity there for Twombly. That goes over the crossbar. But Miletus' goal followed up 4 minutes later by Jordan Rowley. That goal officially coming in the 57th minute. And things remained quiet for 14 minutes. Torrent kept pushing for the go-ahead goal, which they eventually got in the 71st minute by Ryan Locante. A beautiful shot just outside the box that sailed over the head of Lauren Bornoff, the second-half goalkeeper for Chicago. And then Elsie Twombly with the fourth goal in the half and on the night for Milwaukee. Just a minute later, that in the 72nd minute. Liz Beckers was down momentarily, but now up on her feet, seems to be doing okay. Free kick for the Torrent. Katie Swenson taking this kick for Milwaukee. They have flooded the left side of the box. Nice strong kick. Ball bouncing around, still bouncing around. That will be a corner kick for Milwaukee. Much to the dismay of Sarah Haig. Ball sent in to the 6. Bounces out. Swenson's going to get another touch. Sends it back in. Ball played out to Wilson. Wilson with the shot! Goal! Tyler Wilson in the 80th minute of play puts the Milwaukee Torrent up 5-2. You definitely don't want to say it's over, but we are getting to that point. So much so that Mickey Easter is coming off, getting a break that we rarely see for her, as Quinlan Warren heads into the Torrent goal for the final 11 minutes of regulation. Well, Milwaukee has more than come alive in this second half. Unlike the first half where they dominated possession and probably every other stat out there, the one place they didn't dominate was the scoreboard. Well, now they have put it all together here. 5 goals in this second half. And they face another corner kick. Katie Swenson taking this one as well. Plays this near the 6. Tyler Wilson, who just scored that goal. Another goal on the day just outside the 18 for FC Milwaukee Torrent. And Torrent electing to give a number of players a break as well, as Kelly Swenson comes off. Jordan Raleigh re-entering the game. Lainey Higgins re-entering. Miletus re-entering. Elsie Twombly, Haley Johnson, all getting breaks. As well as Liz Beckers. Beckers, at least when it comes to home games, having perhaps her best outing of the season today. Chicago looking for an opening, a very strong run from Haig. Haig had a very strong game in goal for the Dutch Lions. You almost have to wonder if they should have kept her in goal. Well, granted, Torrent certainly had better placement on their shots in the second half. So I'm certainly not putting all the blame on Bernhoff. And Bernhoff certainly hasn't had the help defensively that Haig did in the first half as well, but give credit to Haig. Number of point-blank shots, opportunity for Milwaukee again. Ball still in the box. Solaric running out to grab the ball for Milwaukee once again. Plays this back to Odin. Odin looks up, tries to play it in the middle to Raleigh. Ava Hensley there for the Dutch Lions to at least give the Dutch Lions some breathing room. 83rd minute of play, a few ticks away from the 84th minute of play. If you are just tuning in, you've been missing a great one. Make sure you go back and watch at least the start of the second half. Milwaukee Torrent up 5-2 after going into the locker room at halftime down 2-0. A critical victory for the Torrent today, as that they not only try to keep pace with Bavarian United, but actually leapfrog them in the standings, depending how that game goes down in Indiana for Bavarians. But however these games end today, should the results hold, or I should say, this game hold, it won't matter what Bavarian United do down in Indiana when it's all said and done. A shot on goal, this one just outside that from Jordan Raleigh. But should Milwaukee win this game, they will be well in the driver's seat, and obviously will seal the deal down at Wheaton College against the Dutch Lions on Friday, should the Torrent come back and win that game as well. Speaking of the game in Indiana, Bavarians and Muskrats still tied in a scoreless draw. I do assume that game will go to half just as we wrap up our game here at Hart Park in Wauwatosa. Now, the Torrent women do have an international friendly coming up against the University of Manitoba. First time at Hart Park that the Torrent women will be playing a team from outside the United States. Solaric sending this one all the way across the field. Trying to find Locante, instead goes out of bounds. But yes, that game against the University of Manitoba will take place on July 16th at 12 p.m. We're used to a lot of these 7 p.m. games here at Hart Park, so make sure you mark that on your calendar correctly. July 16th, again at 12 p.m., FC Milwaukee Torrent women will be taking on the University of Manitoba out of Canada. Dutch Lions looking for a third goal on the day. That one sails over the crossbar. No trouble at all for Quinlan Warren. Solaric sends this ball up the field. Higgins runs onto it. Strong tackle, clean tackle by Sarah Haag. And a substitution now for Chicago Dutch Lions. Ava Hensley coming back on the field for the Dutch Lions. By the way, coming off the field looks to be Zoe Paxton. And play continues. Jordan Raleigh with the ball. Ball sent up the field. Auden plays this to Higgins. Higgins looking for Raleigh. Raleigh making a run into the box. Fakes a cut. Now takes a shot. Goal! 88th minute of play. Jordan Raleigh gives the Torrent their 6th goal of the second half, 6th goal of the afternoon, and her 3rd goal on the season. And with that, Jordan Raleigh has a brace on the day. And again, now officially the 2nd leading goal scorer on the team, just ahead of Miletus, who was momentarily tied with Raleigh for 2nd leading goal scorer. But we've now had Elsie Twombly,